Professor Holm, I'd like to first just thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to present in this manner and just understanding my situation. It's been very, very difficult to be honest, and every day is a new day of just trying to get back into a good condition. So, on the positive note, I'm going to present this presentation that I've been working on. This is called the Introduction to Singapore's Urban Economic Development. Let's go. In the beginning, in the 14th century, Singapore, a small island, was strategically located and earned the name Sang Nila Utama, a prince from Palembang, which is the capital of Srivijaya, and caught sight of an animal he saw for the first time. It was a good sign for him. The animal was in Sanskrit words Simha, which means lion, and Pura means city. That is how the city I call home was called Singapura. In other words, Lion City. This is according to legend. Raffles Effect. In the 19th century, modern Singapore was founded. This was due to a man named Sir Thomas Stamford Raffles. Him, thanks to his politics and trading tactics, developed this island city rapidly. Neighborhood effect. I'd like to explain to you about that in regards to Singapore. Next, Raffles decided to implement the Raffles Town Plan. It is also known as the Jackson Plan. It was to address the growing disorderliness in the colony. So through the plan, ethnic residential areas were segregated into 4 areas. Unfortunately for the ethnic Chinese were located in the present-day Chinatown. And southeast of the Singapore River, ethnic Indians resided in Chulia Kampong. North of Chinatown, while Muslims resided at Kampong Glam. These are a group of people including both ethnic Malays and Arabs who migrated to Singapore. On the other hand, the European town had residents made up of European traders, Eurasians, and rich Asians. Singapore continued to develop as a trading post, and they also established several key banks, which was located in the central business district of Singapore, which includes the world-famous Marina Bay Sands Tower, along with the Singaporean Merlion structure. To this day, Singapore continues to develop as a trading post with banks and commercial associations and chambers of commerce. So, was there a need for a revolution? There's not necessarily an agricultural revolution in Singapore. There was no need to. To this day, there's less than 5% of Singapore island which is used for agriculture. Starting off with as a port city, that was where and how their economy was formed by work and firms located there. As mentioned, it was a port and trading city which collaborated with the chambers of commerce. Important to note, the banks played a major role in economizing the country. Notably, there's a Development Bank of Singapore, founded in 1968. There's also the Post Office Savings Bank, United Overseas Bank, OCBC Bank. These banks were all able to make exchanges with foreign countries to continue to develop the countries. There was also no need for an industrial revolution because the city country was way too small in order to have factories along with a very large population in terms of its size. Singapore's geography. Singapore is located in an ideal location. It is located in the southern central district of Southeast Asia, which make it so convenient for ships to stop by. It is ideal tourist attraction, location for there are other frequently visited countries around it, such as Thailand and Indonesia, which has Bali. It consists of one 30-mile long island called Pulau Ujong, which people frequent for leisure. Malaysia is to the north and Indonesia is to the south. Despite its size, Singapore is the smallest city country of the area, but it has the highest average GDP in not only the region, but in the world. Continued growth. In 1959, there was a transition. the growth of nationalism, which led to self-government. There was also the country's first election. The PAP, otherwise known as the People's Action Party, won a majority of 43 seats. From here came the renowned leader of his time, Lee Kuan Yew, the first Prime Minister of Singapore. In terms of economy, as we mentioned, free trade, this means they were able to trade freely. There was no monarchy which enlisted all the rules, regulations, and the functionalities of the economy. Rather, people of different ethnicities were able to trade and collaborate to strengthen their economy. Rise of market economies. Currently, Singapore has a very developed and successful free market economy. It has an advantage in an open and corruption-free environment which goes along with stable prices. The per capita GDP is higher than most developed countries, which unemployment levels are very low, as mentioned. Because it has no agricultural or major source of industrialization, the country depends heavily on exports. In particular, they rely upon electronics, petroleum products, chemicals, medical, and pharmaceutical products as well. And yet, what is really important is the expats, right? So foreign expats in Singapore has a history of foreign expats coming from all over the world to work in Singapore's firms. They are considered the wealthier within the population, which causes a gap with both groups. This is because there are so many firms that are promising to work at, and people from all over the world, those with high skill level, come to Singapore to work there. And finally, before the conclusion, I'd like to mention household location choice. Through my father, I've lived in Singapore for 13 years. I've lived near the shopping district capital, centralized in Orchard Road. We lived there for 8 years at an apartment called Horizon Towers. It was amongst condominiums which are different from the typical Korean apartment. These condominiums are expensive, yet are each architecturally built in a unique way. They all look different. In Horizon Towers, quite an old condominium, had 4 very big bedrooms. My room being bigger than 1.5, the size of a master bedroom in Korea. Yet we moved to a new condominium in 2010 called City Lights. Now this condominium was located in the central business district, which included the Marina Bay Sands Hotel, the Merlion statue, Esplanade, Opera House, Citibank, and many other firms with high buildings. In this case, high buildings are necessary for the land cost is very high. The firms and banks constructed their buildings through the building height choice and balance amongst them. In most cases, there's no need to build structures unnecessarily high when there's a lot of open space. The pros of living at City Lights was the beautiful scenery of the central district with the Kallang River that went through it. It was a beautiful walk and could frequent the Marina Bay Sands Hotel as long as the Merlion statue. I have also brought friends to a special place in the Merlion where there's a laser show. On the other side of the Kallang River, lights shining on the top of the Marina Bay Sands Hotel. This is just one tourist site or piece of heaven that locals can enjoy on any day. Nevertheless, the cost of City Lights was very high, yet not as expensive as the Horizon Towers. When we were at the Horizon Towers at the time, the apartment cost 2 million Singapore dollars, around 17 million US dollars. Our City Light apartment was 16 million Singapore dollars, which is less, and that is around 13 million US dollars. The cost differed in that the location of the Horizon Towers was closer to more firms and jobs. The Orchard Road was like Gangnam. In other words, where it was heavily populated with customers and workers, which brought about much more opportunity economically. There were firms, shopping malls, movie theaters, books, bookstores, you name it. On the other hand, the CBD of Singapore was less populated. There were only a few rising buildings and was space used for parks, walking areas, and river, which took most of the area of the region. My family was able to be blessed with all this that Singapore has provided. From Raffles to Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore has evolved into a mecca of opportunity and happiness. This is because my father was a Singapore expat. In conclusion, in a way, I believe Singapore is a masterpiece of land. It is geographically location is so ideal that it can support itself through ports and firms which are technologically innovated. It is an ideal tourism spot filled with hotels, museums, gardens, and its own Universal Studios. It is a mecca for expats to collaborate with other locals to constantly make continuous strides for its economy and further urbanization. Throughout other parts of the island, Singapore is promising. Singapore can be considered a blueprint for other countries and city-states. Singapore is where my heart resides. Singapore is a lion city. Thank you for listening to the presentation. Thank you, Professor Huang. Take care. Okay, bye.